Thank you very much, Comrade Mahlengi, and the members of the panel, members of the media, good morning. We are here to take you through the priority number 3 and related aspects of the manifesto. So at the outset, we would like to take the opportunity to reiterate our condolences to the families, comrades and friends and communities of those who unfortunately lost their lives in the aftermath of a very successful celebratory manifesto launch in Moses Mabhida in eThekwini. 2 weeks ago, the people and members of the People's Movement and South Africa gathered to express overwhelming support for the progress agenda of the African National Congress. Despite naysayers, the response of our people demonstrated that the ANC is the party of choice for all ages, races, genders, and all peoples of South Africa, irrespective of their religious convictions, social standing, and ethnicity. Several months ago, the African National Congress embarked on a program to review the implementation of previous manifestos and evaluate progress made since the dawn of democracy. We recalled the groundbreaking announcements made at the dawn of democracy by President Nelson Mandela in 1994 to implement the Reconstruction and Development Program, the RDP. These included free health care for pregnant women and children under the age of 6, free housing for the poor, and a massive rollout of water, sanitation, and electricity to those previously excluded. These measures included the promotion and protection of rights of various groups, such as workers, women, youth, people with disabilities, children, and senior citizens, based on the Bill of Rights in the Constitution. The 2024 manifesto builds on the achievements made over the past 30 years of democracy and also to address many challenges that still exist despite those successes. As such, the 2024 manifesto consolidates the democratic gains since 1994. The African National Congress remains focused on eliminating the challenges of poverty, unemployment, and inequality, which are the legacy of colonialism and apartheid faced by our country. To achieve this, several measures will be employed, amongst others, lifting the social wage of every South African, particularly those who are living in poverty, those who are unemployed, those who live in child or women-headed household, and or live in rural and underserviced areas. These measures have over several years resulted in significant gains in which South Africa has reduced poverty rates from 71% in 1993 to under 56% in 2020. Those millions who have benefited from the social wage and government programs are the real tin swallows that the President spoke about during the SONA. Even though South Africa has displayed a modest average 7% inflation rate compared to other nations, some of whom are in the triple digits, today we bring to life the aspirations once expressed by our founding father, Tata Madiba, when he once said, and I quote, "As long as many of our people still live in utter poverty, as long as children still live under plastic covers, as long as many of our people are still without jobs, no South African should rest and wallow in the joy of freedom," unquote. Priority 3 of the People's Manifesto directly engages with the high and unaffordable cost of living currently being experienced in our country. This represents the most pressing bread and butter issue that affects millions across our nation, spanning informal settlements, townships, affluent suburbs, peri-urban and rural areas alike. As a disciplined force of the left, The African National Congress is deeply committed to our revolutionary mission of creating a better life for all our people. The cornerstone of Priority 3 reflects our determination to tackle head-on the high cost of living, to ease the burden, particularly for the downtrodden, the working class poor, and the lumpen proletariat. This priority signifies our unwavering commitment to elevating the most vulnerable segments of our society, addressing economic hardships, and paving the way for a more sustainable, equitable, and inclusive future for all. We shall address the cost of living to render everyday life more affordable for everyone, including workers, the working class poor, unemployed individuals, women-led households, and the middle class by addressing the cost of essentials such as food, housing, healthcare, energy, transport, and wages. In terms of this manifesto, the African National Congress further commits to a structured program to prioritize food security through VAT exemptions of essential food items, the promotion of household food gardens, and accelerated land reform. There will be a strong focus on the provision of basic services for all, particularly the expansion of subsidized services for the indigent and the poor, such as housing, water, and electricity. Equitable access to quality education and healthcare will be strengthened, including the support for the implementation of the National Health Insurance. Other measures will be implemented to ensure affordable student accommodation, a national minimum wage aligned to inflation, and strengthening of existing social grants. With regard to the health and education systems, further elaboration will be provided by the Committee on Education, Health, Science and Technology, who will soon brief the media. That will be the near future. The committee will indicate that regarding education, equality of opportunities has reached near equilibrium, with South Africa having achieved universal access to basic education, including for girl children. Nonetheless, the challenge remains the quality and content of education outcomes, with the average learner performing poorly on key global indicators such as reading and literacy. The 2024 manifesto commits the African National Congress to work together with our people to further improve education and health outcomes, and to develop skills to build capabilities of all citizens, as well as to improve the lives of millions of our people in order to eradicate inequality. Working together, more can be achieved. On the comprehensive social security, in this regard, our manifesto focuses on deepening the comprehensive social security system whilst improving our health and education systems. For with just those three, we would have greatly invested in our shared futures. This briefing focuses attention on the evolving comprehensive social security system and related matters, which address the structural underdevelopment and poverty, particularly in black communities and amongst women, children, the elderly, and people with disabilities. Many who sit in the opposition benches and beyond have for some time tried to cast aspersions on the comprehensive social security system. Despite the criticism and the efforts by opposition parties to cast aspersions on the comprehensive social security system and by inference the social protection system, we in the African National Congress see this system as a tangible investment towards achieving a quality life for all. They have failed to recognize the positive impact it has provided for over 24 million South Africans. For at the dawn of democracy, there were fewer than 2 million grant recipients. And of course, at that time, all of us would know that the major focus of this was on the white community. Today, there are over 26 million such recipients, the majority of whom are children and those in distress. No doubt, there may have been unintended consequences to the social grants, which we are determined to rectify as soon as they surface. We intend to deepen particularly the child support grant, and move closer towards a basic income grant. We shall have to explore certain conditionalities by which we can encourage other economic and social indicators such as market participation, health, and education, amongst the others. Nonetheless, there are studies abound which confirm that social grants reduce poverty and that the child support grant enhances women's empowerment and control over the well-being of children, as well as enhances the women's household decision-making in financial matters and general household spending. The child support grant has a positive impact on fighting hunger and enhancing school attendance and healthcare. Social grant aid investment expenditure by poor household and job search activities. At over 2,000 rand per month, a single old age or disability grant lifts the household beyond the second decile in the income distribution. The grant enables investment through participating in stokvels, savings, and other investment groups. The manifesto is our commitment, therefore, to strengthen our comprehensive social security system, to reduce poverty, vulnerability, social exclusion, and inequality through social assistance, and to protect the value of social grants for children, the elderly, and persons with disability. Work is underway to explore ways to prevent vulnerability and destitution as a result of the loss of income through social insurance for workers. The ANC-led government also continued the social relief of distress, the SRD grant, benefiting around 7.8 million people, and continues to work on developing targeted basic income support for the most vulnerable within the fiscal constraint. The ANC manifesto has put in the plans to work together with our partners to do more to consolidate, advance, and modernize our basic services to leave no one behind. And on building the asset base, however, we note that the comprehensive social security system is not enough to sustainably lift the vast majority of South Africans out of poverty. We must find means by which we also build their asset base. Beyond the provision of the social safety net, there's a huge responsibility to create sustainable and independent livelihoods for all able-bodied citizens. This requires the government to strengthen support for skills development, entrepreneurial development, building the small and medium and macro enterprises and cooperatives. Using various instruments, the government will focus on the promotion of self-employment and job creation by these sectors. Economic transformation and financial sector reforms will be utilized to promote the creation of cooperative banks and to ensure development finance institutions are adequately resourced to provide affordable finance for small enterprises and social enterprises, particularly for the unemployed, for the women, for the youth, and other vulnerable groups. Hence, our manifesto also pays attention to ensuring better access to land and ownership, for everything starts with the land. By the way, that was the first act of dispossession by the colonial masters. We will therefore accelerate all efforts to ensure that our land redistribution and land restitution programs are accelerated. The Committee on Economic Transformation, Local Government, and Legislature and Governance will elaborate on these important aspects, and I think that already has been done by the Economic Transformation Committee. From the advent of the Reconstruction and Development Program, the RDP, the Growth Employment and Redistribution Strategy, GEAR, and now the National Development Plan, NDP, we have significant strides in policy formulation to advance social upliftment. Various programs will be implemented to promote youth development and reduce various challenges that consume our youth. Youth unemployment remains a crisis. Substance and alcohol abuse are major challenges in our communities. Dagga, heroin, nyaupe, cocaine, tick, and other such substances contribute to criminality, violent and risky behavior, as well as reckless sexual activity, teenage pregnancies, sexually transmitted diseases, and school dropouts. Various social development and employment creation programs will be employed to embrace the energy, the creativity, activism, and imagination of the youth to be prepared as the future of our country. Pro-poor policies such as the providing free health care for the pregnant women and children under 5, offering free housing for the poor and providing clean running water, dignified sanitation, and reliable electricity for previously marginalized have been further solidified in liberated South Africa. These efforts encapsulate the ANC's enduring commitment to fostering a more inclusive and equitable society and leaving no one behind. 30 years later, South Africa is now widely celebrated for the protection of workers' rights, as well as the focus on the rights of women, youth, and people living with disabilities, children, and the LGBTQIA+ community, and other persons. The African National Congress is committed to mobilize all sectors of society to promote freedom, peace, safety in all communities, and particularly the prevention of violence against women and children, the prevention of gender-based violence and femicide. Mobilization of all stakeholders strengthen the protection of rights and dignity of children, youth, older persons, persons with disabilities, and members of the LGBTQI community, and continues the fight for women's emancipation and the creation of a truly non-sexist society. The relevant committees will further elaborate on the strategies to promote and defend the rights of all South Africans against racism, sexism, gender-based violence, homophobia, discrimination, and other intolerances. They will outline actions planned against drugs, organized crime, gender-based violence, and femicide, and the fight to uproot corruption. One of the achievements of our constitutional democracy, which is understated, is the level at which the LGBTQIA+ community is protected in terms of Section 9 of our Constitution. To this end, we are concerned by the recent wave of African states taking anti-human rights approach to sexual orientation. In the spirit of building a better Africa and a better world, we have the view that engagement should be pursued with our sister countries on the continent. On implementation of these provisions of the manifesto, we believe that the strength of the 2024 manifesto is a focus on implementation. Provisions of this manifesto will be translated into programs by relevant sector deployees. The focus of this manifesto is the emphasis on effective planning, implementation, and monitoring. The ANC will ensure that public representatives and the civil service will remain accountable in their conduct and in the performance of their responsibility to fulfill the public mandate. Monitoring will ensure correction of challenges and consequence management to restore public trust and confidence. The ANC commits to ensuring the selection of honest, capable, and dedicated leaders and to rectify past mistakes committed. As movement graced by illustrious figures such as Comrade Nelson Mandela, Comrade Albertina Sisulu, Comrade Yusuf Dadu, Comrade Ruth First, and others, we stand proud as a movement that has always been on the right side of history. These comrades rank amongst the most distinguished revolutionaries of the previous century, embodying the spirit and resilience that have defined the African National Congress. Their contributions to the struggle for freedom, equality, and justice in South Africa have left an indelible mark in our history and continue to inspire generations. We seek to uphold their legacy by doing right by the people of South Africa. The manifesto document itself is an important labor of love from the National Executive as well as the various provincial executive, regional executive, and branch executive committees together with our tripartite alliance. It therefore articulates our collective aspirations and is a reflection of lessons learned, gains to be consolidated, and a development trajectory to accelerate South Africa onto a revitalized, secure, and sustainable growth path. Consequently, as you know, the manifesto focuses on 6 cardinal priorities, which includes our jobs plan, building our industries to include an inclusive economy, investing in people, defending democracy and freedom, advancing freedom, and building a better Africa and the world. However, with the effects of COVID-19 and changing global macroeconomic environment, we've recently had some setbacks. We are therefore duty-bound to do more and do faster. This is because, as oath-bearing members of the African National Congress, we know that it's only a caring organization and government that can ensure that all South Africans reach their full potential so they can contribute to the growth of Africa and her children. Therefore, in conclusion, South Africa started the journey to a united, non-racial, non-sexist, democratic, and prosperous society which guarantees a better life for all, guided along this journey by our Constitution. The National Development Plan sets our immediate national aspirations to eliminate poverty and reduce inequality by 2030. Democracy brought together our people from diverse backgrounds to work towards a common vision of a united, democratic, non-racial, non-sexist, and more equal South Africa. Our journey towards social cohesion, social solidarity, and national unity must therefore continue. The ANC calls on all women, youth, urban, business, rural, labor, faith-based organizations, civil society, traditional leaders, tax associations, the LGBTQI plus people, and people with disabilities, the middle strata, intellectuals, military veterans, students, our diaspora, sports, arts, and cultural workers, traditional healers, to join us to defend and advance our freedom so that together we can do more as active citizens of our beloved South Africa. Working together with our people, we believe the African National Congress possesses the political will, the governance experience, and the wherewithal to get things done. We dare not fail. Thank you very much.